Welcome agents. Like most of you, I'm really looking forward to playing the Division 2 in less than 1 month now, but there are still some things the devs need to clear up as soon as possible to prevent any further confusion or speculation. Today I want to go over what these things are, and if they are anything you personally want clearing up, leave it in the comments down below and I'll share this video with the devs on Twitter and hopefully they will see it. With that said, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and if you don't, leave a comment saying why. Subscribe for dedicated Division content. And let's do this. Okay agents, so I hope this video doesn't come off as negative, because really all I want, or we want, are answers, and I think it's fair that we get them. So first off, if you pre-ordered any edition of the base game like the Gold Edition or the Ultimate Edition for example, part of the package included the Year 1 Pass. Now the devs have confirmed as part of this pass you get access to the free Year 1 episodes 7 days early, which is why I personally bought the Gold Edition. That sold it for me. Also, part of this pass are exclusive customization items, additional activities, and more, and herein lies the problem. Now, I've seen plenty of posts on Reddit of people undecided whether to pick up one of these editions because, quite rightly, they want to know what they are paying for. Now, like I said before, the 7-day early access is enough for me to purchase the Gold Edition, but for a lot of people, this simply isn't good enough, and that's absolutely fine. They should be transparent about it. Exclusive customization items are pretty self-explanatory. I can personally live without knowing what these are because I like surprises. Additional activities, however, this could mean anything at this point. You could try and speculate about what these activities are, or you could possibly go back by looking at the Division 1 Season Pass, but again, it would be speculation and nothing more than that. Now, I just don't understand why the devs cannot tell us what we are paying for with these additional activities and more. It's like going into Nando's and there being an option to buy a medium chicken breast and more, and asking the waiter or waitress what this is, and their response just being, well, it's more, so buy it. That's probably a really bad way of describing it, but you get my point. What the Nando staff should do is tell you exactly what the more part is, and then you can make an informed decision as to whether you want to purchase that meal or not. It baffles me that the devs are still not clarified what these activities are and what more means, and I can imagine it is putting off a lot of people. It could be that the devs do not know themselves yet what it is and it's still being developed, and that's fine, but they shouldn't sell it then. You don't put something on sale and then when someone questions what they are buying, your response is, I just don't know. It really blows my mind that less than 4 weeks away from launch, the devs are not willing to confirm what these are, and ultimately, it will be affecting their sales unless they know it's not what we want to hear. If it does come out now and said the activities will be like an extra bounty a month and the more section is simply a supply drop weekly like the Division, this will probably deter a lot of people from purchasing it, so maybe that's it. Regardless, the devs need to come out and be transparent. Talking of transparency, let's move on to the next thing we need to clear up, and that's microtransactions. Man, do I hate talking about microtransactions. I really do, because it's something we shouldn't have to talk about as consumers. Unfortunately, microtransactions are very real and still very much a huge problem in gaming, especially games as a service, which is what the Division 2 model will be. In the Division, we had loot boxes. They were cosmetic only, and the currency required to open these boxes were pretty easy to get just by playing the game. With that said though, like a lot of games 3 years ago, loot boxes are just an absolute no-no, certainly in today's world, and in my opinion, and in the opinion of many countries like Belgium for example, who believe this is simply gambling, and it just won't be tolerated. In my opinion, regardless of whether these loot boxes have pay-to-win items or a cat sticker in them, it is still gambling, and something I do not agree with in video games, unless it's actually, a gambling game. Over the last year or so, many games have opted to follow the same formula as Fortnite, games like Blackout and Anthem for example. And this is to have a cosmetic only shop where you can see exactly what it is you're purchasing and the cost of that purchase, whether it be with real world money, in-game currency, or a mixture of both like what we see in Anthem right now. This to me is absolutely fine, and whilst I don't agree with some of the price tags on some of these cosmetic items, it doesn't affect my gameplay as a consumer, and you don't have to buy them. Maybe the devs will reveal all in the next coming weeks. Maybe the devs will let us take a look at the microtransactions in the open beta on March 1st. It was only recently in the private beta stream that the devs clarified what the additional stash space was, and a lot of people felt pretty burnt by that because what they meant by additional was actually only temporary. If you didn't know, the additional stash base sold as part of the Elite Agent Pack is only additional on a temporary basis. You will get extra stash base early on in the game, but once a player hits the end game, everyone will have the same stash base, regardless of whether you got this additional stash base or not. The way it works is your base stash space is 50 when you start the game. You can unlock 50 over the course of the campaign, and then you get 50 at the end game, meaning overall you get 150. With the additional stash space purchased as part of the Elite Agent Pack and certain editions of the game, you start off with 100 in the stash that you can use, and you get 50 at the end game, so you end up with 150. And this is pretty scummy if you ask me. The devs knew exactly what they were doing with this and failed to disclose that this additional stash base was actually only temporary. I'll never quite understand why they thought this would be a good idea. I mean, did they really think people would be happy with this? I don't get it. They should have never sold additional stash base in the first place, or they should have sold it, but they should have said it was temporary additional stash base until the end game. That would have clearly and simply described what it is you're paying for. But just like the Year 1 pass, everything was very vague, and in this case certainly misleading, and they removed the one word that meant everything to this, and that was temporary. Now, I don't like making videos like these. You'll very rarely see some sort of negative video on my channel. I try not to get involved. And I'm sure some of you will be saying, well, just don't buy any of the editions then. You don't have to buy it. Which I totally understand, but it is beside the point. Consumers like us are very quickly starting to see right through these sort of practices and call it out. Now, I care a whole lot about the success of the Division 2 because from what I've played, I really enjoy the game, and I love the Division 1. It's one of my favourite games, so I want to ensure that this game has the best possible chance at success, and this is actually only hurting that chance. This is really, it's a bit of a downer on the game ultimately. Now, I'm not a publisher and I'm not a developer, but surely these people can see just how bad this looks. As consumers, we expect transparency at the very least. Now, if you went into Tesco and saw a sandwich in a clear box with a sign, "Trust me, you want this," would you buy it? No, of course you wouldn't, because you have no idea what it is. If you were intrigued or hungry enough, you'd probably ask a staff member, and in the case of these additional activities and microtransactions and more, you'd probably just get a glaring look and silence. That's not how this works. What they should be doing is telling you exactly what is in that clear box. It's really not rocket science, but for some reason, these questions that have been asked over the last 6 months or so have still not been answered, and we're still left wondering. I do want to apologise for this video because it's not meant to be negative, although I feel like it's kind of turned out that way a little. Like most of you, I'm just frustrated that we are so close to launch and it's still radio silence. I wanted to make this video so you could leave your comments and I could share this with the devs and hopefully encourage someone to do the right thing here. Now, I'm not saying I have a bigger voice than any of you because that's simply not true, but if MarcoStar, for example, sends the devs a video saying this is what everyone wants, do you think they are more likely to take notice? I think so. And that's not to say I'll have an influence like Marco or any influence at all, but I like to think that with my position growing within the Division community and now on the radar of the devs, they might actually watch this video and read everyone's comments and do something about it. It's hopeful thinking, I know, but if I can't use this platform and this community for positive change, then I'd have to seriously consider whether I should be doing this at all. So this is me doing my part for you guys and for the game. Aside from these glaring problems with transparency, as you all know, I'm very hyped for March 12th when early access for the Division 2 goes live. Now, it really showed in the private beta how much the devs have tried to fix almost everything we have said needs to be fixed. The Division 2 had the largest team in Ubisoft history working on it, and forgetting the technical issues, the game really felt like a huge step forward, certainly in its PvE content like Endgame. Now, I've spoken before about my concerns with PvP, but upon reflection, I think my concerns may have been premature, so again I apologise for that, and I think I actually need to play a lot more before I can really give you my assessment or opinion on PvP within the Division 2. We just need the devs to confirm exactly what these additional activities are and what other stuff is coming as part of the Year 1 pass, and everything will be good. Please, Ubi or Massive, if you are watching this, then listen to your community and do what's right by us as a consumer and potential customer. Like I said at the start of the video, if there is anything else you personally want the devs to clarify or be more transparent about, please leave your comments below and make it as detailed as possible. I will likely share this video with the devs in sort of the next couple of days, which should allow enough time to get a lot of feedback. And I want to thank you all for watching today's video and hope to be doing more positive videos from now on. With that said, whilst I support the Division and the developers behind the game, I will call out some that I'm concerned about or don't agree with. Like I said, I think it's my duty to do my best by you and for the success of the game. Thanks very much for watching. Until the next one, Epic out.